5 years strong, we hold the line. Voices sharp like a neon sign. We're the calm in a frantic storm. Hearts of steel keep the world warm. We speak dispatch loud and clear. Every word fights off the fear. Lights are flashing, we don't break. Lives to save, it's the vow.
Welcome to a very special episode of We Speak Dispatch. It is May of 2025, and we've got some good news and some bad news. Taking a page out of Doug's book, we got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is this is going to be our last season of We Speak Dispatch. This is actually our last episode that we are filming together with all of the original castmates of We Speak Dispatch. But the good news is you can't get rid of us that easily. We're going to be coming back and doing some other special things that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But we wanted to get on and kind of just talk about how We Speak Dispatch came to be. What are some of those memorable moments that we had over the course of almost exactly 5 years ago, and where we're going to be headed next. So, Joe, I'm going to call on you because this kind of started. You can kind of give us a little background of how this whole thing got started back in May of 2020.
Well, we were in COVID, and
Before you go,
everybody.
Hold
What's
on.
that?
before Joe goes, I just want to say that we have a couple guests that might be popping on during the filming.
Oh, nice.
Surprises.
Oh,
So,
all right, cool.
if you see new faces pop up, that was intended to be that way.
Okay.
Okay, like, all right, cool.
Very cool.
So,
All right,
so
so
okay,
during-
continue on. I just want to
Yes,
let you
during
guys
COVID, we would get together and we were having happy hour or drink social hour and checking in with each other like everybody was doing. We were doing it virtually. And after one of these sessions, I decided to go out for a walk or a hike or whatever it was I was doing. And I called everybody back and said, I got an idea, but I couldn't really formulate into words what I wanted to do. And that's where you always rely on your coworkers or your teammates and everybody else to put the pieces of the puzzle together for you when you have this idea. The problem was when we got back together, like I said, we were celebrating happy hour. Now we were doing 2-for-1s. It was the second special, and the ideas really generated a lot of conversation, and it led to.
Oh,
I see
stop
it.
the recording now. I
So
love everybody.
what's your thought process? What is your big ideas?
It's all over the board, from making it fun to having serious conversations once in a while about hot topics, to also getting people just to come and laugh once in a while, to also giving people ideas on how to improve it. Basically, I would like them to have ideas to come to us and say, we want to see you guys discuss this topic I want the topics kind of to come from our audience.
Right.
As long.
Well, I mean, I think initially we're going to have to come up with them because we're not going to have an audience. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
that's why I came up with some fun ones and some serious ones.
Okay, that should be long enough for me to test recording.
God, I'm scared. It's
Generated a lot of
recording me.
conversation, and it led to let's just start a podcast and talk about these dispatch topics. That's what we do when we have these happy hours and discuss these things. And combined on the screen here, I don't know real fast math. I'm going to guess we have between 150 and 200 years of service on this screen right here in 911. So that makes us either experienced or old or both. Yeah, but it's been a heck of a ride, and it's been a heck of a 5 years. And since I gave the introduction, I'll just turn it over to whoever wants to go next to share their part.
Well, I'll just say that it was a great transition to go from drinking to talking about events that impact dispatchers all over the country, and having guests come on and things like that was a real hoot to have that happen. So it's kind of neat to do that. And to think how we have the very first episode, we have the very first talking about this incident that we're going to splice in here. You'll see it in a second. And it's just a cool thing to see how it originally started and how we went from being very stiff and very like, I will read a script and I will tell you these things, to having just a good fun time on these things.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to We Speak Dispatch. I'm Joe, here today with Leslie, Doug, and John. Our lighthearted discussion will offer some different perspectives, opinions, and new ideas in our dispatch world. Today, we're going to be talking about leadership. And if you are promoted, from inside your walls to a leadership position and what we would advise you to do and maybe not to do. So I'm going to bring everybody full screen here.
Good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
There you go. And since this is one of our first ones, we're just going to have everybody take a few seconds and go ahead and introduce themselves. John, we're going to start with you. Go ahead.
Go, John.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. This is John. I've been in the business about 24 years and work in a large agency on the East Coast.
Very nice. Oh, I'll go now. My name's Leslie. I work at a smallish agency in Southern California. I've been doing this about 28 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Keep it up.
And then again, I'm Doug, and I just retired from a large state agency, and I've been in the business around 30 years or so, and worked as every rank you could imagine in dispatch. So I've been all over the place.
Yeah, and lastly, I'm Joe. Got a little over 20 years in the 911 experience, and like Doug, I've worked almost all positions as well. And we're going to be talking about just a lighthearted conversation on leadership, and as if you were promoted.
Yeah. I would say where we started and where we are is 100% more than I thought we'd ever accomplish. Like, we were just a bunch of people who were like, we don't know what we're doing. Let's just throw out some ideas, put some recordings together and see what happens. And here we are 5 years later. And we don't have all the fancy equipment. We don't have all the fancy stuff that others have, but somehow we made it work. And here we are. I'm sad to say that this is the last regularly scheduled episode, but also it's been such a wonderful ride. And we've had so many people that have been touched, have reached out and just enjoyed being guests on the show. So for all those people, I said thank you.
And we're going to have some special guests popping in periodically. I can see some already waiting in the waiting room. Everybody else, go ahead. Andrew, Joe, Glenna, go ahead. Give us your memory.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
First off, thanks for having me on this final regularly scheduled episode. I had my life kind of took a little bit of a twist and a turn with kidney disease, and I wasn't able to really participate much and had some other things going on, but certainly have stayed in touch with most of you, if not all of you. And, I've seen some of your episodes, and I always see the stats, as Joe so proudly mentions, and most of them going up. From somebody who used to travel the road with every single one of you, pretty damn proud of what you guys have accomplished over the last 5 years. And honored to be on here and see how much passion still exists within the 6 tiles that are on the Zoom screen. I think we all, I can only speak for myself, but we've all kind of done something just a little bit different. And, we are where we are today, and still have 911 in one way or another in our hearts. I can sure say that for myself.
100%. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Glenna, Miss Glenna, go ahead.
So I actually was not on the first episode. I was contacted by my dear friend Leslie. The 6 of us have previous experience working for a similar company or the same company, and so I either would know these people by name. A few of them I haven't even met yet, but I feel like they're just my dearest friends. But Leslie did say, hey, we just all kind of get together and we drink. And I kind of reminded her about the one time that I was put in front of a camera and how disaster it was. My name is Glenna. I have 6 years experience. So I told her it probably wasn't a good idea, but hey, if I drank enough, maybe I could come on. So thank you, Leslie. And just, it has been such a cool journey as we go through life and all the twists and the turns. And
hello, everybody, and welcome back for another great episode of We Speak Dispatch. We're here to speak right to y'all out there and speak to dispatch. And today I've got our usual suspects sitting with us. We got Glenna, we got John, and we got Leslie all with us today. Hey, everybody. How was your days?
So far, so good.
So
awesome.
Far, so good.
Great.
Good. Boy, we're all ready to go then. Everybody's in a good mood.
Yes.
It's gonna be great.
Got my orange juice.
When we're together, we're always in a good mood.
That's true. That is
always
true. Yeah, I wish we could
that is
order.
true.
Hey,
Waitress,
Doug.
we order something?
Wait, hold on, time out.
What's happening?
I'm so sorry.
Glenn, what is going on
So
here?
kind of every once in a while I get really bad chest pain just from something I got going on.
Jeez.
I got to step out of the room. And as we're all getting older, every single one of you guys on here is just such a dear friend, and it's just been so much fun doing this with you guys. So thank you for including me.
Oh.
Oh,
Awesome. And
All right.
Mr. Corman, bring us
Yeah.
home, Mr. Corman.
Oh God.
Tell
Yeah,
us your
I agree. Like we didn't know what the hell we're doing. We went from free Zoom to paid Zoom. Thanks, Doug.
that's true.
You know, like I mean, just talking Teams and Zoom. It's like, what the hell? Yeah, you know, it's just been really fun, and I've always kept what Mr. Recorder has said from the beginning in mind. This was nothing more than people getting together in a coffee in a bar and talking about dispatch, where you just let it out, you talk your stuff, where it's kind of like, yeah, you have things to talk about, but we had a topic, but it was like everyone's jumping in all the time kind of thing. And I think we stayed true to that for 5 years.
Yeah.
No
No
So-
scripts.
Right.
And I think this is the most like, it's the most relaxed podcast in the dispatch area that's out there.
We
think
have somebody that
Agreed.
popped in who wants to stop by and just say,
Uh-oh.
oh my, let's see who this one is, because we have a number of
Let's
people
see.
today.
Yay! Our favorite person.
Oh my God. The
Heck
man,
yeah.
the myth, the
If
legend.
he
The
comes
legend.
on, we've allowed him to come in, so it's like I'm not sure what's happening here.
Here
So
we go. Here
He's
we
one-
go.
Oh, he's just teasing everybody.
there
There he is.
Ricardo. Wow.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Look at the voice. Just listen to it.
Yes. It's so awesome to have you join us. And
Yes.
because so Ricardo, we were just talking about like we've been doing this for 5 years and just the changes that have taken place. And you have been a steady constant in the space for those
Yeah.
5 years. And you too have expanded into this
Oh
amazing,
my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
you know, just wonderful giving back to the profession. So I'm so touched that
Thank
you
you.
would come on and be a part of this. That's really very special.
I'm
Yes.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for the kind words. And speaking with Doug in Colorado, we were sitting in the car and he's telling me what's happening, what we're doing right now. And I'm just staring at him because I was waiting for him to go, you know, and I was like, where is it?
No,
Yeah,
we're really doing
Yeah,
it.
and he called me. He's like, I just told Ricardo.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
it's okay.
I said, and Ricardo's been on a lot of our podcasts, whether he knows it or not, because you were the intro to a lot of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
every time I was
Yeah,
like, hey, we
it's-
need an intro. Get Ricardo. He's fine. He'll do it.
Yeah.
Wait,
He's good.
We talked about starting a podcast. We were asking Ricardo, and I was just telling somebody this story the other day, what kind of equipment you use. And you've got this fancy old soundboard and all this
Yeah, like
equipment.
and stuff. Yeah.
And we literally have the most basic stuff we can get on Amazon. And we've made it work.
Yeah.
Oh, Leslie,
remember
you
sending
wanna
you
show us
lists and
your,
links.
your setup,
Yeah.
that big,
Yeah.
uh,
But
beautiful
That big mic?
microphone.
I
Yeah.
know.
That
If
was
only I
sitting
were
right
home, I
here.
would show you my big beautiful mic. Yeah.
I got a question.
This
I got
kind
a
of
question
show.
for Ricardo. I got a question
Yeah.
for Ricardo.
Big,
Okay.
Ricardo, you were on one of our episodes, and I don't know the answer to this. Just since you popped in, I want to say we did a superhero episode of some kind. I don't remember what the correlation was, but I'm going to ask you, what superhero were you, and do you remember what the heck you answered? Because I do.
I remember.
Welcome back, everybody, to We Speak Dispatch. We have a few of our normal panelists with us. We have Glenna and Doug, but we are joined by a very, very special guest. We are joined by hashtag IM911 Ricardo Martinez. Welcome to We Speak Dispatch, Ricardo.
Hey, hello. I'm
Hello.
happy to be
Talk
here. This is
about
good. It's
A
like
different topic, and this one's a little bit out there, but I want you to describe the agency you used to work at or your coworkers by describing them as your favorite superhero and
whoa.
why your agency fits that criteria. So we're going to throw it to our special guest, Ricardo. And if you had to pick a superhero, who would you
Welcome aboard.
describe? Who would you pick to describe the people in the 911 center you used to work with?
I mean, and this is, I guess, off the off the side, kind of a shout out to a group that we all know as well. But I mean, basically, all of them were Wonder Women, man.
Oh,
Yeah, that was mine.
Shout out. Call back.
Straight up. I was the Joker.
Yeah.
I think
you
I
do?
came to him first
I
too.
do. I
well-
think I do.
Okay, go ahead. Because
I have
Were you
I have
Flash?
I have an idea of what it was, but I'm not for sure. So if you remember, hook me up.
Were you the Flash?
The
Or was that
Flash?
Joe? Do you even know who the Flash is?
I know who the Flash
That's,
is. I thought it was I thought it was like Wolverine or something.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh.
I was the
remember.
Flash or no, Quicksilver. I don't know. Now I don't know.
Oh, maybe
Damn it.
Quicksilver. I don't know. We'll have to
Look
look
at
at it.
The
That's
bad
awesome.
thing
It
is
was.
it's gonna be spliced in here. So I have that episode. It will be spliced in
Oh,
there,
okay.
so-
It was definitely a superhero episode, and I don't remember if when we did the episode, it was close to Dispatch Week.
Oh,
And
that's
that's why we were talking about superheroes.
Oh, superheroes.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that was
think
in
I
September.
don't know for sure, but
You remember more than
Oh,
I
it was
do,
in
Ricardo.
September?
that
Good
makes
job.
sense.
oh
Well, the episode
Very
on
cool.
superheroes was posted in September of
2020.
2020.
Oh, really?
So,
Interesting.
May not be the
2020
right-
something is
well, I
what he
mean,
said. 2020
it was the
something.
pandemic, so it could be. We were
Yeah.
talking about the essential, the essential
Yeah.
workers going in.
Oh, maybe
and
that's
being
it.
superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been
Well,
that too.
we'll put that on there. That'll be spliced in here to say. There's what he said.
Here's what he said.
I think
Also,
when we-
in honor of this special occasion, I don't drink anymore, right? You guys know that. It's this October will be 7 years. However,
Wow.
I do every so often. I'll have a non-alcoholic drink. So I got a non-alcoholic Corona.
How does that happen?
Aw.
So
I thought you were going to say, I don't drink anymore, but I do smoke a bowl every once in a
oh,
while.
I know.
So-
I rolled up a fatty for you. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh my
Hey,
god.
you do you.
That's
Wow.
awesome. God.
How about
It's
those
been
gas station
7
burritos?
years.
Did you bring any?
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Like, I'm waiting for Doug
Yeah.
to bust out his hookah.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah. No
Don't get me
kidding.
started.
It's for medicinal
Yeah.
purposes.
Yeah.
It's not
Gosh.
legal in
I
Tennessee.
remember, Ricardo, when you first stopped drinking. So that's been 7 years. Wow.
Wow.
Sober October.
Yeah.
And it
It
just
was a
never
sober
stopped.
October, and it just
He
I
just
never
loved it
went
so
back.
much.
Yeah,
Leslie, that's
awesome.
when Leslie was doing her drunk 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023.
Well, she
The,
does dry January, doesn't she?
She does.
Oh yeah,
She
yeah.
does
They
try
have those as
January
well.
2nd. It's true. That's
Yeah,
for
try
one day a
January
year. It's like
That's right.
The local liquor store. I had. I mean, they've always had O'Doul's, right? So I
They had
went
a
there
shrine.
because they had just come out with a few other ones. That what brand is it? Athletic, I think it's called, something like that.
Mm.
They have a bunch of different IPAs that are non-alcoholic. So I went in there and I asked the guy, and he goes, "Sir, there's no market for stuff like that. No one is ever going to buy that." And I said, "Oh, okay, my bad." A month later, they had a whole section
Yeah.
Yeah.
full of all different kinds of stuff. And the guy wasn't there, but I wish he would have been. So I could have been like, huh?
Yeah.
No market?
Yeah.
Dos
Yeah.
Equis came out with a non-alcoholic
Yeah.
beer too.
what's the
Yeah.
point?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a little belated, Ricardo, but happy birthday, I think. Is that correct?
Oh, thank you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a
Oh,
birthday.
Yeah,
wow.
happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Oh,
Yeah.
happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
And Joe's getting ready for his
I'm 34.
turning very old thing there, Joe. How old
Yeah.
you turning
Joe's
there, Joe?
turning 50 tomorrow.
Oh my
Nifty 50.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, be a
Oh,
big
happy
one
early
tomorrow.
birthday. Dude,
Thank you.
No way. You don't look like you're
So-
going to turn
I
50.
know. I always
I
thought
know,
it was so much
seriously.
younger than us.
It's time for a
So-
prostate exam.
For
There
real.
you go.
I thought you were like
So-
18.
I will
Yay,
tell you how I
guys.
celebrated this morning with that
Yay.
stuff you mail to them instead of doing the
Oh,
full
gosh.
thing. Yeah.
Colon,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
Colon
Colon blow.
Nah, you
So-
go for the full thing. Go for the
Yeah.
colonoscopy. It's the best.
That's
It's,
right.
the,
It's
I'm
more fun
telling
that
you,
way.
It's the best nap you've ever had.
Oh,
That is true. That is true. So, Ricardo, we were talking before you came in about, we've been doing this for 5 years and just the things that have changed, just not only just in our personal lives, but how dispatch has changed, how the
Yeah.
profession has changed in the past
Yeah.
5 years. And it's crazy to think that 5 years can go like that. And like knowing what you know and you know what you've seen and what you've been a part of, where do you think dispatch is going to be when we come back and do our 2030 episode? What are we going to be talking about in 2030?
2030.
How
Oh
far
man.
away is that? 5 years?
Years.
5 years.
Good
So
job,
you'll be
Glenna.
using a Ouija
Good
board.
job.
Okay, that'll be good.
Thank
So
you. Thank you, John.
I think so I wrote an article years ago for the IAD when it was like the 50th anniversary of 911, and they had contacted me to write something for it, and there was a bunch of people that were writing stuff, and I had sent something in as a journal entry of a dispatcher from the past who left something as like a time capsule type for dispatchers of the future. And it talked about how we got into AI and we lost that human factor and we had to come back to it. And I almost feel like in 5 years, and this is not saying anything bad about AI, I just mean like there might be something that happens or whatever that we end up coming back. It will still be using it, right, in a sense, but keeping that human factor.
Wow.
I feel like it's just going to be like that. It'll just be a more cohesive partnership with technology and humanity, really, those that
Yeah.
are doing that are in the profession doing what they do. And so I don't know, it might be like that.
Yeah.
So Ricardo Nostradamus Martinez.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. It's going to
Or
be
Elon
interesting.
Musk,
Truth in that.
his robots
Oh,
are
yeah.
gonna take over.
Yeah.
I don't know.
be nice to
No,
the
no,
robots
no.
because they
Sure.
will kill you. So I have seen that on Terminator. I know how it works. So
We're
Right.
looking at tons of AI technology.
Yeah.
Tons
Yeah.
of it.
But
There's
there are
plenty of
states,
rewind on
there are
all that.
states, yeah, there are states in the country now that if AI is a part of any contract or whatever, they're like, nope.
Oh,
Even
really?
Nina is coming out. So Nina has, if you are a part of like a Nina work group or there's meetings, and you can't have an AI note taker on. They don't want any AI in their meetings, and they're coming up. They've got a work group that's coming up to talk about standards and how that's going to look. So
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
you know
that's
that
a
I
good
talk
thing. I
about that
guess we
stuff
might as well
when I
start it.
teach because I'm talking about that all those centers that are having ransomware attacks or
yeah,
shutting down the CADs like that. You better know how to go back to old school because if you
Hello.
don't, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I tell it to a lot of people and they're like, I don't think it'll ever go down. Well, if you get ransomware attacked or if there's a grid attack,
Yeah, no
or whatever,
kidding.
yeah, I'm like, it could happen, and you better know how to get a map out and go, where's my Rand McNally? Where's my Thomas guide?
yeah.
Or you
That's
better
what
have a lot
our
of
IT
Bitcoin.
guy says.
Yeah,
Our
Bitcoin.
IT guy says it'll never go down. And then we had that worldwide outage, and he said, "Yeah, but that was worldwide. Who cares?
Well, you
It
said
still went down.
never is an absolute.
Hello,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a little bit crazy out there.
Yeah, it's
so,
crazy.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, I
A lot
mean,
has changed in 5 years. So
yeah.
Gosh, I mean, with all
Yeah.
of us, look how much of changes have occurred.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe
Mhm.
is about the only person still in the business. I mean,
But he
he's-
left and came back.
Yeah, but I mean, he's 50 years
So-
old, so he's like really like, oh my.
Doug.
So,
Glenn is still in.
oh,
Whatever.
Claire, are you still in? I thought you were like, you wanted to be a
No,
vagabond or
she's
something, or no? You just...
Well, I am a vagabond, but I'm still a dispatcher.
Oh, you are? Okay. I didn't realize you're still
I'm not
doing
retired
it.
yet.
I thought you already did. So,
No.
I know John's not, Ricardo's not, Andrew's not, Leslie's not, and certainly we aren't. So, I just look at that stuff nowadays and think, that's a lot of technology. It's a lot of technology out there.
But do you ever wonder if you could walk back into your center and sit down and do the job? Do you think you could?
But I think I could walk back in and still be a supervisor because that's about leadership and that kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah.
Because you just sit on your butt.
I think I
don't do anything,
could.
Doug.
I think I could.
Yeah.
I could go in
You
and
think
put on
so?
a headset. Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
take calls
Yeah.
and get on
I'll
the
answer
radio
your
and act a
questions.
fool. Oh sure.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
that
I do miss
foundation
that.
is there. Yeah, the foundation is there. That you could say.
I mean,
just like
going back,
riding a bike.
Yeah.
the bottom line is the foundation is what you build on. And so
Agreed.
when
Agreed.
everything else is
Yeah.
gone, the foundation is there. Leslie, you would have so much fun if you did that.
Giddy up.
Giddy
Let's
up,
go.
let's go. Come on.
That's
I'm
exactly
sorry,
what I say
you're
when
gonna
there's a
be out
vehicle
in
pursuit.
California in 3 weeks?
Mhm,
Wow.
mhm.
Sounds like we're
Say, Andrew, start again because
I was
you're
going to say, when I
sound-
moved away from being full time in dispatch and went to my new career, I did stay on as a temp for quite some time just to kind of help out as a dispatcher, not go back as management.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun and I was really good. And then suddenly I became just an absolute shit show. And, you know, suddenly I couldn't keep up with what I used to be able to keep up with on CAD.
Mm.
And then I didn't find so much as the technology change was the newer generation, whether it be on the dispatch side of the radio or the patrol side of the radio. And that's not how we do it anymore. We don't say that word anymore. We use a code instead of that, or vice versa. I'm like, well, what the hell? So do I press? Like, should I do? Did they do it fast?
Yeah.
Stuff like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So I actually had to make that decision of saying, well, I could probably come back and try to help if you really truly need it. But at this point, I'm just a big pain in your ass. So, being enough for you, call me if something breaks, and I can probably walk you through. But short of that, see ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're in
I know
manual
that-
mode, give you a call, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I know one of my last times working the radio before I left, it was a holiday, I think it was, and it was really slow. And I said, I'll take the radio. I'll take it. I'm good. You know, whatever. So I'm doing okay. And then an officer comes on. He's running a car. Then he's running a warrant check. Then he's doing all these other things. And I'm like, okay, I can't. Can somebody come and do all this?
I thought he was gonna say like shots fired or something.
No, it was
just
a lot of
traffic
me
stop.
going, can you stand by 1 second? Just stand by, please.
My pen is out of ink. My pen.
Yeah.
And maybe this still exists today, but one of my biggest frustrations too was the number of questions. God bless their hearts, the folks that are out on patrol, but the number of questions. Can you not just drive your car to the call and figure out what's going on?
Oh, don't go there
Thank
now.
you. Thank you.
Oh,
Amen.
Lordy.
Preach, Father, preach.
Ooh, just pick that scab.
Yeah.
Man.
I
Fire
think
'em
that's
up,
something that'll
Chris.
never change. That will probably always be like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
why
like-
you want to get that technology into their hands. So they've got read your call. Just read it. Just read it. It's there.
Right.
All the
Is your
information you
radio
need is
turned
there.
up? Did you not
Yeah.
hear what I told you
Yeah.
just now?
Yeah.
It's in those comments.
What's on the side of your shoulder on your arm? Oh,
Yeah.
that's the patch of the agency? Yeah, just go.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Ricardo, one more
Wow.
question for you. Ricardo, one more question for you. In the 5 years we've been doing this, and this can be personal for you or something about our podcast. What's the biggest thing that happened in the 5 years to you?
Oh shit. Oh wait.
That's a
Are
a
you,
question.
can we swear?
I'll just mark
Yeah,
it explicit. I'll
I
just mark it
forget.
explicit.
I forget.
We're good.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? Fire you?
Yeah.
I know, right? you'll just have to bleep it.
Yeah.
No, I think the biggest thing that has happened to me in the 5 years is finally jumping in and teaching. And
Oh, that's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
that for me came from I drove to that ranch in Texas where I go and teach with Joe Serio, and I drove from Indiana there,
Oh my
Oh,
God.
and which everyone said I was crazy, but I love the scenery. I love a drive
How
like
long was
that.
the drive?
It was like 20 something hours.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And I drove straight to Texarkana, and I stopped there, and I was gonna sleep and then leave early in the morning because I would have had like 6 or 7 hours left or something.
Oof.
I let
my
my
God.
siblings know that I arrived in Texarkana, and they're like, "Bro, you're in Texarkana right now?" And I said, "Yeah, it's like 1 a.m. or something." And they said, "You need to be careful." And I said, "What? Why?" And they said, "Don't you remember Dad's favorite horror movie of all time?" And I said, "The Town That Dreaded Sundown." That happened in Texarkana. They're like, "Yeah, dude." I was like, "Oh," and they said, and they never caught the guy. I was like, "Damn it."
Did you drive on?
I know. Well, when I was getting my stuff out of the car, I was like, "I'm keeping you on the line, and I'm looking around, being aware of everything that is around me more than usual."
Oh my
But
gosh, that's hilarious.
in that drive though, it was just I was trying to figure out the next thing because you know me, I'm always trying to evolve and just progress, whether it be myself or the stuff that I'm doing. And I was talking to some people there at the ranch, and they're like, "Why don't you teach? Why don't you just create a class?" And I said, "I can't do that. I can't. I don't see myself teaching something for 8 hours. I'm not like that." And they said, "Haven't you been doing sessions at conferences for like over a decade?" And I said, "Go on." And they said, "You've been doing it all this time. It's just been in 1 hour increments." Just so all I did was basically all the sessions that I've done, I expanded them and turned it into an 8 hour, and I've been doing it ever since for like a couple years now. So that
That's
I would say is
awesome.
probably the biggest thing. And it has been so much fun to do. And I'm just excited to be able to continue doing that.
Cool.
That is the biggest thing that has happened to me, dude.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
Congratulations.
it's been a lot of fun.
Congratulations.
Very cool.
Thanks. There's been a
Very
lot
cool.
of driving and my
Andrew,
ass
what's been
hurts.
going on with you? Because you didn't film our episodes at the very beginning. You did, and then you kind of stopped. So tell us what's been happening for that 5 years with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest news would be December of 2023. I had a kidney transplant. So
That's kind of big news.
it is, yeah. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
a haircut and some sleep, feeling pretty darn good. But yeah, you know, when we all were on the road teaching, or I had the opportunity to sit at Ricardo's table at a NINA conference in real life, I didn't realize that I had kidney disease, and just, you know, truly woke up one day with a bloody nose. My wife, I had to wake her up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and my nose wouldn't stop bleeding. Our bathroom looked like perhaps Texarkana with a horror scene of a movie.
Oh my God.
Blood everywhere. I thought, holy smokes, woke my wife up and said, "Oh, you know, just need you to know that I'm bleeding out basically in the bathroom, but it'd be fine. Give me a couple minutes." And she said, "No, we're going to drive to the hospital." So we drove to the hospital 10 minutes down the road at the time, and I got checked in. My blood pressure was through the roof, go figure. And anywho, went into my room. Doctor came in and said, "So, how long have you had kidney failure?"
Oh
And
my
in
gosh.
the wrong
What a
room.
thing to say, Jesus.
Yeah, and so, you know, long story short of that portion of it, I was diagnosed with stage 5 kidney failure at that particular moment, and within a couple hours, they had me opened up, and I was doing dialysis that night, and it
Oh
was
my gosh.
shocking, really
Yeah.
shocking. So, anywho, spent the last couple of years from 2018 to 2023, I was doing dialysis every single day, whether it was at the clinic in town or at my house. Luckily, I was able to do some of the modalities at home, and my wife, being a phenomenal caretaker, really took good care of me. And we did dialysis at home, worked around our schedules.
Oh, wow.
I mean, if there was one thing that we were determined, it was that it was not going to stop us 100%. Still younger to go, luckily. So, and we were
You're
still,
the youngest one in this group.
and for a lot of time, actually, nobody at the sheriff's office even knew that I was sick. Nobody, there was one person, that was my direct boss, that knew that I was at dialysis a couple times a week. Anywho, and then actually I was thinking about it with your question about, you know, could you go back in dispatch? And the very last shift that I worked in dispatch as a temporary employee trying to help out, it was about 9:30 at night. I was working the radio and my cell phone rang. And it was one of my former dispatchers, Shannon, who worked for me back in the early 2000s, worked with and then for when I got promoted. And I was like, she's in a different time zone. What in the world is she calling at 9:30 at night for? And so I sent her a text and said, "Hey, I'm trying to work the radio right now. I can't answer the phone. I'll have to call you back." And she said, "No problem. I'll be up for a while. Call me back when you get off." I was supposed to get off at midnight or whatever it was. And I thought, well, that's really weird. Why does she want me to call her at midnight when we've talked via text and stuff, but not on the phone for quite some time? Anywho, so I call her up and she says, "Hey, do you want a kidney?" And I said, 10
Oh
fucking
my gosh.
California for a repeat.
10 Frank 9?
I can give you my kidney. And I said, hold on. Now tears are flowing. I'm in dispatch again, trying to work the radio. And I was, what? She had been in 3 or 4 months of testing. She had flown back out to California.
Wow.
Oh my God.
If she was a compatible match or not. and she was. And actually, the closest match you could get that's not a living relative.
Wow.
Andrew, I had no
Wow.
idea she knew you. I thought that she was an
Wow.
anonymous donor that you met. I didn't realize
Oh.
she was one of your dispatchers.
Yeah, she was, and we hadn't seen each other in, boy, I don't know, 10 years at least. We had texted and here and there and whatnot, stayed in kind of contact. But yeah, so anywho, I forget exactly when that was, but December of 2023, I had my kidney transplant at UC Davis here in California in Sacramento, and I've been doing really, really well ever since then. Absolutely blessed. So if there's nothing that I would,
Yeah, that is.
if there was one thing I would share, it's like, number one, well, there's two things, I guess. Number one is you never know whose life you can impact, whether it's the classes that every single one of us on this screen have taught. And Leslie, I remember one of the biggest messages we always shared in one of our classes was, you never know somebody else's story.
True.
And a lot of people know my story. And so when I was feeling like crap at work or whatever, some people gave me a little extra grace because they knew something was up. But you never know what somebody's going through. And then secondly, you never know if you could actually donate to somebody. So, you know, think about it. And I know other people in these in this room have been touched by donation in one form or another, whether it's blood or another body organ or whatever. But you know, so sorry to bring the mood down, but really,
Wow.
No, that's,
No, that's
not
phenomenal,
down.
man.
That's
Can
That's-
very
anybody
that's
top
uplifting.
that?
powerful.
Anybody got anything on the top?
No, I don't think. No, Ricardo, go. No.
I flew on a plane a couple weeks ago. That's about it. That's amazing, man. That's
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
incredible,
No doubt.
incredible.
it's amazing.
And we actually, you know, don't have a problem with you not being on our podcast. That's fine. We're okay.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
because
We're a
of the
little
reason.
busy. Got some
Yeah,
stuff
just
going
a
on.
little.
Yeah. Wow. That is a lot out there. So
Yeah.
Well, good to have you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I'm so glad you're still here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to echo what Glenna said, Andrew, is I had no idea it was a former dispatcher as well,
Yeah.
as somebody that knew you, and knowing that connection and how that all came about. I really applaud you for sharing that with us. That, first of all,
Yeah.
congratulations to both of you. Quite the story. And just to sit back and listen to that was absolutely just amazing. So glad you're joining us on this
Yeah.
episode and willing to share that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, one
that
thing
is.
that her and I both vowed to do that, frankly, guys, we haven't done very well, is to share them. Because had I not gotten the courage to put up on Facebook 5 into my need of a kidney, had I not gotten that courage to put it up there, Shannon would have never gone and gotten tested.
That's
Yeah.
how she knew.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so,
I remember when you put it up, we all looked and we none of us got, well, I didn't get tested. I'm too old. They said thank you very much, but no, you're too old.
They said, Grandma,
remember
could you go
that.
outside? Just
yeah, I
Dad,
gotta
you're still 20 years older than me, so shush.
shut up.
Story's crazy.
Oh,
So it's hard to top that story, obviously, and there's no trying to top it. But we've had a kidney transplant, and just in the 5 years, we've had retirements. We've had people move across country, whether it be in a Ryder
Yes.
truck. We've had grand babies delivered. We've had weddings. We've had all sorts of stuff that came about. And the really only thing I can add to that conversation is I went and worked with pigs for a few months. So, I mean, there's all these family celebrations. And when I say pigs, I mean really the farm animal pigs. I stepped away from 911.
Yeah, now you work with other pigs.
He traded one pig for another.
Jesus.
real farm animal pigs for 9 months, and that was a heck of a deal. But yeah, everybody on here, we've had all sorts of stuff going on, and that's just in 5 years how life can be impacted. So
Right.
I wanted to
You
give
know
shout
what?
out.
We have a couple of special guests that want to pop on now too. So
Yep.
let's
Let 'em
Uh-oh.
on.
get one, and there's another one there coming. There's Michelle down there.
Oh yes, Michelle.
And Michelle helped us with the announcements at the beginning there before Ricardo took over. So it was
That's right.
Yeah.
Michelle
That
was
is
on there.
awesome.
Yes,
Love
I
that.
was always like,
Michelle and Michelle.
there's Michelle right there, but she's very blurry. She's
There she is.
there. She is.
There she is.
I was like, I'm blurry and I'm upside down. I can get it together though.
Oh, it's
Yes,
been-
and
wow.
Oh, and it's Ben over there from the Santa Barbara Fire
with the
Department.
crazy schedule, with the crazy schedule.
That's right. The schedule stuff. Oh my God.
They don't know why they're here today.
Here.
So Leslie, tell them
Oh,
why
they
they're here
don't?
today.
Oh, I invited people, but I
Oh.
didn't tell them why I invited them.
Oh,
I thank you guys
So,
for coming on last
This
minute.
is like
I thank you for hopping
Yes.
on and trusting that this would be a fun time. Thank you guys.
So Leslie, tell them why
Yes.
they're here.
So this is our official last regularly scheduled episode of We Speak Dispatch. And so we wanted to bring back all of the major players in
In
the
5
5 years
years.
that we've been doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. You know, Ben, with your crazy schedule, God, that one could have lasted for months.
Could have had that go for a while.
Yeah. And Michelle, you were
That was
our
so much fun.
announcer.
That was
You were our
that
announcer
was
for a
that was a great episode. This was a great- we were all like, I still don't understand the schedule. Oh Lord.
I'm 20 plus years in, and I still don't get it.
Yeah.
Right.
And Michelle was doing our voiceovers there for quite a while. So it was like, I said, look at that. And then Ricardo stepped in and he was doing them. So I'm like, both of you were great at this stuff. So it was kind of nice
Yes,
to have
Michelle,
that.
you were such a beautiful voice.
Yes, it was
Oh,
nice
thank
to have
you.
that.
Hey, it's Michelle, and you've been listening to another great episode of We Speak Dispatch, proudly sponsored by our friends at Zybex.
So it's like
What's
we-
going to
we're
come of
just-
this is Michelle and Ricardo are going to now team up.
That's right.
It's going to be all about
Right.
They're
Yeah.
gonna be voiceover stuff.
His voice
Yeah.
is way better than mine. He's got the radio voice for sure.
Ben just ran out of the room. He said, like, forget it. I'm leaving.
He had to go check on
You
his
went to
schedule
get
or
the
something.
schedule.
I need
Yeah.
to add more light. I was realizing I'm very dark.
Oh,
You know, I
Yeah,
just
he
figured
need-
you
he
were
needed
like,
more
you know,
schedule.
tan, so
It's,
I'm
it's
kind of-
bright and sunny in California. I need to show that.
Yes,
Yes.
it is. It really is.
Wow.
So did you? What can you tell us about your experience when you were on our show? Did anybody say anything after that? Like, hey, I saw you on a thing, or I heard you on a deal, or anything at all like that?
He's going to be like, no.
Not one person. Well, I know Ben's agency did because we heard from them. So
Yeah. I had some other people who I worked with through Post out here in California who had heard some of the broadcasts. Like, that was you, wasn't it? I was like, maybe. What was it about? I
Do you want me
have
to
to
do
leave
your
some
schedule?
deniability. No, I had a handful of people who outside of my apartment had heard the episodes or saw it, or
Cool.
people who started getting into dispatching, were trying to learn more about it and
Yeah.
had come across it.
Oh,
I was just teaching a class up in Indiana, and somebody said that they were new to dispatching, been on a couple weeks, and they said they've been watching these episodes, and they were like, we thought that was you on these things. I'm like, it is. In person. So, Michelle, do you still work at the fire department? Where do you work now? Because you kind of
No,
moved around.
I don't know if you guys remember, like back when I first joined you guys, I was like kind of transitioning out of dispatch. I'm officially out. I'm a therapist now, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with the counseling team international. I'm getting ready I've made it through the vetting process with them to join as a therapist to continue to serve the first responder community as a therapist.
Oh my God.
So
Glenna
that's
is
amazing.
freaking out. That's
Well
her
done.
thing.
Oh, Michelle, oh my gosh.
yeah,
fangirl.
so a lot has
Oh my
happened.
God.
I've been doing a lot in the last 5 years. I can't believe it's been 5
Oh,
years
well, then
since I've
I'm
been there
sure we're
with you
going to
guys.
work together. That's
Oh,
You
awesome.
part of
are
that
you-
thing, Glenna? Where'd she
Yeah,
go?
you're one of our contract agencies. We have two, but you're one of two. Well, the Counseling Team International is. So,
Yeah.
and we always
cool is
ask for, if we ever need a counselor in, we always ask for the ones that have the experience with the first responders. So
Yeah.
I'm writing your name down
cool.
as we speak, girlfriend.
Yeah.
wow, that's awesome.
That's so fun because
Yeah,
you
that
came
is-
in as
that's really
fire and
cool.
you're now all fancy.
Yeah.
All like, now you're looking at each of us going, I can see problems. I can see it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's been doing that
I'm
for a while,
diagnosing
I'm
all
sure.
of you as we
Yeah,
speak. For sure.
yeah. Heavy dust.
Michelle, did you intend to do that, or did it just happen?
I mean, not starting out. Once I kind of got into it, I went back to school. I went back to school in February of 2020, and kind of just kept going. Got my bachelor's and my
That's so
master's, and
great.
right now, all of this is kind of just like falling into place. So
Good for you.
Aw,
yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
And Ben, how
Thank
goes it
you.
at the fire department over there in Santa Barbara? Were you guys part of that huge thing with LA burning down and all that stuff or not?
We were well clear of most of that. We sent a lot of resources, but thankfully we were well clear of that. It was interesting that, our personal lives and our professional lives crisscross every once in a great while with things. And nothing more prevalent than with my kids' sports this year, both basketball and baseball. lots of transplant people from the Palisades area that had relocated to Santa Barbara while they were waiting to figure out their next step or their next move. So we had a couple kids who came in late for the basketball season. They'd already been going for a month that came in. Baseball, our signups ended like the beginning of January, and we had people rolling in like beginning of February before tryouts being like, my kid wants to play baseball, and we just moved here and we didn't know what we didn't know. So it was kind of interesting to see how that actually like the impact, and like a lot of people relocated up here to get away from stuff. And it spoke highly to our community. Like, we have been through some big fires, and how supportive our community is, that our hotels up here were taking people in, normally had no pet policies. We're like, screw it, we'll figure it out later. Come on up. Like discounted rooms, like, hey, we can book you for a week, we can book you for a month, however long you need, we're going to work with you. And so it's kind of cool to have kids have some normalcy that got resumed for them that they might not have had otherwise. Like, they got into stuff, and it might be a new field, it might be a new gym, but our community really came together for several families that made their relocation up here.
I love hearing that.
Sounds like come from away.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
that's how the
awesome.
kids get to continue what they were doing. I mean, they get to continue playing
Oh, yeah.
baseball, which is cool, even though their house is gone and they've lost everything, but it's like they're still doing that. So that's pretty cool.
We had a game going one day. It was like a preseason like scrimmage thing, and this dad walks over, this probably like 8-9-year-old kid, and he's standing there watching, and he's like, we just moved up here, we lost our home in the Altadena fire. And I was like, I'm so sorry to hear that. He's like, we're trying to figure things out, we didn't know, when signups were with this or that. And he's like, is there any way we could maybe get in? I was happily standing there with 3 or 4 other board members on our board, and I was like, that lady's sitting right here, you should talk to her right now. And she pulled up on her phone, we have open registration actually in his age division, we have space even though we've already cut it off. Go online, fill this out right now, and we can get your kid in and on a team by tomorrow.
So cool.
And so it's just one of those like good feeling moments of like, this guy just happened to go by the fields. We're right next to the basketball facility, and he was looking at basketball, and it had already ended, so they didn't have a chance, but we were able to get his son right into baseball. And it was one of those cool moments while these families are still trying to figure things out, that their kids could still have some resemblance of normalcy that they had back home.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
man.
It's
All the changes
cool.
that have
And you're
gone on.
right. When you talk about, public life, and your private life, and then public safety, and how it's all about community, and it's all about relationships. And, we've spent the last few minutes talking about how these paths cross with people, and out of nowhere, you'll have somebody come up to you and say, hey, weren't you on, or didn't you do? And it's like, yeah, I've had people ask me about, hey, can you tell me about that schedule? No, I can't. I can say you can watch that episode again.
You're a great resource.
Yeah. But, talking about, peer support, which has always been Glenna's thing. And now having Michelle come on and say, this is what she's doing full time. And it's just like, you never know. And I guess the message that I just, as we start to wrap this up, is to remind people, you don't know where life's going to take you, but you've got to answer the door when somebody's knocking. You just
Amen.
say yes. Say yes. Don't be afraid to say yes, because I think every single one of us had an opportunity, or somebody said, hey, I think you would be good at fill in the blank. And maybe that voice inside our head said, nah, I don't think so. Say yes. What's the worst that can happen? It's pretty amazing.
Very good.
I think the video that I'm going to put at the very beginning of this, when we first started planning this thing we're doing, I don't think any of us thought this is going to last more than like 10 minutes. Like, it was
That's
just,
what you guys said. We don't have an end game. We're just going to do this till it goes out.
Do you remember Adam asking, what's the end game? And we just all looked at each other like,
what do you mean?
we don't know.
like, what's your goal? I don't know.
But
Were
I
you
love
guys
that you
doing?
guys took that
I
leap.
don't know.
yeah,
I think all of us not
Yeah.
in your inner circle appreciate that you guys took that leap, because I think all of us independently knew your wealth of knowledge independently, and to have you guys come together in this cohort, of thieves to put this together.
Yeah.
Like, it just, I think it spoke to so many people. I mean, every time I loved listening to episodes, and hearing Joe give the latest update of how far and how spread
Oh yeah.
you guys got with each episode. It was like, yeah, we're gonna get some people we know they're gonna listen, and it might go for a while. And then it was just like it just gained momentum and it kept
Yeah, it
going
kept
and it kept
going,
growing.
kept
And
going.
I think that spoke to what you guys were getting to people. I know
Yeah.
Ricardo's got a huge following on his message and his platform,
Mhm.
and everybody just we're such a unique subset, but you guys did such an amazing job of finding different things that spoke to whether you were in middle of nowhere, Central California to back east to the south. Like you found something that hit everybody to know I'm not alone in this. This isn't unique to just me or my center. Oh my gosh, these people over here have the same thing. So I applaud you guys for keeping the train moving down the tracks when you didn't know what direction you were going at that point. Because I think a lot of people got more out of it than I think you guys even intended or expected. So
cool. That's
Yeah,
so nice. Thank you.
I agree.
That's
Thank
very
you.
sweet.
Great.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
very nice.
The thing that
Wow.
makes me smile the most when they say hearing Joe would rattle off the stats at the end is that means people were listening all the way to the end of our shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so that's even the best news because if they heard, I didn't rattle that off at the beginning. I was always at the end. So that means everybody was listening to the whole message. And that's just a compliment to the whole team. So thanks for saying that to the people that brought that up.
And I will tell you
Yes,
one more thank you to Zybex, who sponsored us for quite a while, and
Yes.
who else was it? Watson, who sponsored us for a while and stuff.
Yep.
And it's like they really believed in us. I run into Ken at Zybex all the time at conferences, and he's still like very supportive. Like, what can we do for you
Oh.
guys? How can we help out? And I'm like, I wanted to tell him in Colorado that hey, we're done, but I didn't want to. I was like, I didn't say it, but we will be doing special episodes with everybody. We can get them all in there and stuff like that. So.
The only thing that I want to say.
far. Oh,
I'm sorry, Ricardo.
I was just gonna say, I knew you guys were gonna go far when I was a guest on the first time I was a guest, and you guys threw me under the bus with that
that's
out of nowhere question. I was like, "Holy shit, this is gonna be fun." It was fun, and I would tell people all the time, like, you need to go listen because they do it different. Like, it's not just an interview; it is. Just a combination of different things, and when you're doing the questions and you don't tell the guest, that's what made it fun. And I almost
Yes.
pissed myself too because I was like, I don't know what to say.
I'm glad I'm not the only one, Ricardo. Glad I wasn't the only one.
Yeah, you know what's
Yeah.
funny,
Yeah.
Ricardo? Do you remember when you had when I left the fire department? I joined RQI, and you had the RQIT team, and we were voluntold to join your
Yes.
an episode. Oh, in the green room, we were not pumped. Because we knew enough to be like anxious, and we were if there was a hidden camera in the green room, that was the best content.
I have the recording, so
Oh,
no, I'm just playing. I'm joking. I'm joking.
There's probably a lot of cuss words
Yeah.
in there.
That's the good thing about these episodes. I have all of them. So I have all the recordings there, and this will be our 200th episode today. That we're gonna throw up. So 200 in 5 years, so that's pretty darn good. So that's
that is
Like a
awesome.
part-time
Yeah,
job.
that's pretty
dang.
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
sad to see that we're ending.
But we're doing other things.
We've got other things going on.
Yeah.
And I think it's a test. I think the success of our show or podcast has also been a testament to our friendships. Because
Agreed.
Yeah.
I know
Agreed.
Leslie and Doug have been friends for a while. Joe, John, Andrew came along about the time I came along. And I think it's just a testament to how great of friendships we have. Even though we're all from very different areas of the country, we all have very different lives. We all have
Mhm.
something in common. And I think that's what has kept us going. I mean, we
Mhm.
still see each other regularly, not as regularly
Mhm.
as we would like. But I mean, we hang out with Leslie quite frequently. Just look at our Facebook.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
Yes.
Facebook says you guys hang out at least once a month. So
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
gonna say, like,
Yeah.
Anything.
Like every other week.
Jill, and I think, and kind of building on what Jill has said and what Ben said, every single guest that we ever had come on the show, because they're all connected in some way to 911 and public safety. And we are a unique subset. And I would say the word that I would describe this group is genuine.
Mhm.
We didn't always
Yeah.
agree. And, we came from
There's no
different
filters
backgrounds.
here.
Yeah, but we all love the job, even though there are days that we're like, oh my God. But you know, it made us who we were
Mhm.
and who we are. And I think that's never gonna go away. Even if the podcast ends today, that's never
Agreed.
gonna go away. So
Yeah.
I thank you.
That's what makes it a fun experience, because Leslie's right. We do kind of sometimes disagree with each other. And I know sometimes Leslie will be saying something and she can see my face and she's like, and Doug, what do
just
you
shut
have on
up.
that? I'm like,
Well, the only thing I really disagree was how long it took Glenna to cook a damn egg. So that's the only thing I definitely disagree on.
What?
That was a good episode.
Well, what? It was only 1 minute.
Oh,
To
no
eat in
way.
1 minute is pretty damn cool.
We did a
He's
food
standing in the
episode for
snow.
we did a food episode, Ricardo. We were all going to cook and say these are the things you could cook and take into dispatch. And they knew I smoked barbecue, so it was like January or February. It was butt ass cold in Iowa. I mean, it was freezing cold. And I'm
911 emergency.
And welcome back to another episode of We Speak Dispatch. As you can see, it looks a little bit different this time. We're not in our she sheds or our man caves. We're here in the kitchen. At least some of us are. Joe looks like he's out in the great tundra of snow. As you can see, I have a lot of things going on right here, but I just wanted to give you guys some examples, and then Jill's going to show you how to make some things, and then Joe is going to wrap it up with his grilling techniques. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is when you meal
I use this as like portioning out my meals, so I don't take an entire thing of like cottage cheese or an entire stalk of celery or a whole thing of yogurt with me to work. So I just put it in here, and then I have everything portioned out, and I'm able to do like celery with dips, where I don't know where my little cups are. Oh, do little cups in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Joe talk about what he's doing, and then I'm gonna make my box up real quick, and then we'll come back to me after Joe does his, and I'll show you what my completed box looks like.
Awesome. I'm a little bit different than Glenna and Jill because, well, I still like to barbecue no matter what the weather is. So I'm going to show you the weather here first. I can remember how to flip my phone around here. It is cold right now. Lots of snow, but there is the smoker right there.
And I'm out,
it was
and I'm outside in the freezing cold, and Glenna decides to go first to talk about, and I think she meal prepped the whole week for her dispatch shift. And she just kept going, and I'm like, the eggs are cooked. The eggs are freaking cooked. It is 20 below out here. You know?
Messages telling
Wait
me
a
to
minute,
cut
you
her
were
off.
outside?
Yes, I was outside by the smoker, just wanting to show the barbecue part that you could cook or smoke or grill in whatever temperature, and wind blowing. And I mean, I was iced-sickle by the time she got done meal prepping.
You were a
So I gave her-
Josicle.
Yes, I gave her a
I
heck
just kept
for it
sending
for
Jill
being
messages saying, cut Glenna off now.
before Joe freezes to death.
Hey, the Food
That's
Network
amazing.
contacted me and asked me to do my own show. I mean, I had to turn them down, but from that one episode,
Was
they
that
were
you
really
on the
impressed.
cooking channel, Glenna? Was that you on the cooking channel?
It
thought it was a
was
45-minute
me,
episode.
yes.
So I always give
100%.
Glenna a lot of crap.
Yes.
Well,
Hey, before we drop off and finish up, I want to say one thing because you guys said it. Leslie said, and so did Jill, that we all have, one thing in common, or we have commonalities. And I think it's our love for humanity and our love for people, but especially our love for the unsung heroes, the dispatchers. So with that in mind, and because peer support is such a big part of my life, I want every single person out there to remember that this subset that you're looking at here, it's part of such a great community that you guys are never alone. Dispatchers are never alone. You can hop on the internet. You can watch We Speak Dispatch. You can get onto website pages, through Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And you've got 20,000 people that understand what you're going through and that can help you through it. You've got Michelle, who is no longer in the first responder industry because she's now there for first responders. So 911 Wellness Project was an idea that we had in 2019 with the ultimate goal is to help reduce first responder suicides, mostly dispatchers, law enforcement, but also fire and EMS. And so it has such a special place in my heart. That's one thing that I think we should all leave everybody with is we may be ending this particular episode, but there's still that community out there. There's still the people out there, and you're never alone. You always have somebody you can talk to. You always have somebody that you can go to that understands. So there you go.
Leslie, take it home. Let's do our
said,
final
well
deal
said.
here and
Yep.
be done with it all.
So, well, I can't end this. I gotta have Joe. Joe.
Oh,
this
God.
Oh
is
yeah,
it.
Joe.
The one time I'm unprepared, what started in 2020 is the seasons are coming to an end in 2025. We want to thank all of our guests. We want to thank all of our sponsors. We want to thank all of our listeners. And I personally want to thank all of my other panelists. It's been one hell of a ride. If you haven't listened to an episode yet, make sure you go check us out. The episodes will still be available for you to listen. And to all of our loyal guests, thanks for listening. To all the dispatchers out there, thanks for being a 911 dispatcher. You really do matter. Make it a great shift, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
I'm so glad we had this time together, just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time